Welcome to Inside British Royals. This is your exclusive look inside the world's most famous family. We are exploring the scandals, secrets, and power plays that define the modern monarchy. If you are new here, please do well to hit that subscribe button for more updates. For years, they were the shadows behind the prince, the keepers of his secrets. They saw who he met, where he went, and what he did when the world wasn't watching. Now, as police launch a new assessment of Prince Andrew's conduct, his former security detail may hold the key to unlocking the truth. But sources say they are terrified to talk. So, what could these officers know? What immense pressure are they under? And who are they so afraid of? Just when you thought the story of Prince Andrew and his toxic friendship with the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein couldn't get any darker, a new chapter has begun. Thames Valley Police in the UK have confirmed they are officially assessing new allegations against the man now known simply as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. At the heart of this new inquiry are claims that are as shocking as they are serious. Newly released U.S. Justice Department documents suggest that back in 2010, while Andrew was Britain's special representative for international trade, he may have shared confidential government information with Jeffrey Epstein. We're talking about official reports from a trade tour of Southeast Asia, with emails showing he also shared his itinerary for visits to Vietnam, Singapore, and Hong Kong. This all happened after Epstein had already been convicted and jailed for soliciting a minor for prostitution, a time when Andrew publicly claimed he was cutting ties with the disgraced financier. The police are looking into potential misconduct in public office and even possible breaches of the Official Secrets Act. This isn't just about poor judgment. It's about a potential crime that could carry a maximum sentence of life in prison. King Charles has expressed his profound concern and pledged that the palace is ready to support the police. The Prince and Princess of Wales are also said to be deeply concerned. But while the official investigation slowly grinds into gear, a crucial element is missing: the key witnesses. The people who were with Andrew day in and day out during this exact period, his royal protection officers. These officers are the ones who could connect the dots. They drove the cars, stood outside the doors, and logged the movements. They would have known who was on the other end of the phone, who was coming for late-night visits, and who was with the prince on these controversial trips. Their notebooks and memories could either back up or blow apart Andrew's version of events. But there's a problem: a wall of silence built on fear. To understand what these officers might know, you have to understand their job. A royal protection officer isn't just a bodyguard. They're elite police officers who become totally integrated into the daily life of a royal. They are observers, planners, and facilitators. They are, for all intents and purposes, the royal shadow. And when it comes to Prince Andrew, a few brave individuals have already given us a terrifying glimpse of what that life was like. Paul Page, who served as a protection officer in the royal household for 6 years, is one of the few who has broken that code of silence. In documentary interviews, he's painted a picture of a man with an explosive temper and an incredible sense of entitlement. Page alleges that Andrew would fly off the handle at the smallest inconvenience. If the palace gates didn't open fast enough, he'd allegedly scream, "You effing buffoons," out of the car window. In another incident, Page described hearing Andrew on the phone, berating a large police officer who was trying to verify an unannounced female guest, allegedly calling his own guard a fat lard-ass cunt before demanding the guest be let in. This behavior reportedly went beyond verbal outbursts. Page has claimed there was a revolving door of women visiting Andrew at Buckingham Palace late at night. Unlike guests for the Queen, whose details were logged by security, these women often arrived without their names being recorded, a major security breach. Officers were simply told not to question it. Page also alleges that Andrew misused police resources, ordering his protection officers to act as a taxi service to drive these women home. Then there was the famously bizarre and controlling behavior. Page recounted being shown a laminated picture of the 50 or 60 teddy bears on the then 40-year-old prince's bed. Maids were instructed to follow the picture perfectly when tidying up, because if the bears weren't put back in the exact same order, Andrew would allegedly start shouting and swearing at them. Paul Page's testimony provides a framework for what other officers must have seen. They saw the temper, the guests, the misuse of resources, and the disregard for protocol. They were there on the trips with Epstein. Their testimony isn't just helpful, it's fundamental. So, what's stopping them from coming forward? When Paul Page was asked why more of his former colleagues don't speak out, his answer was chillingly direct. He said one colleague was too frightened to come forward and be identified. He's frightened of the backlash. He added, "There's a lot of fear amongst ex-police officers. You're going up against the royal family." Another officer explained the silence more bluntly. "We didn't ask, because the bottom line is, because of fear, we didn't want to get booted off our post." So why the silence? The fear comes from a few different places, and it runs deep. First, there's the legal pressure. All government employees, including royal protection officers, are bound by the Official Secrets Act. While it's designed to stop spies, it creates a powerful culture of silence. Disclosing unauthorized information can be a crime, and the decision to prosecute rests with the Attorney General, a government appointee. Beyond the law, there's the unwritten code. When you join royal protection, you enter what Paul Page calls the bubble. He says, you're not part of the Metropolitan Police anymore. Your loyalty is to the royal family, and that is how it's perceived. This creates an intense, almost familial pressure not to betray the firm, as the royal institution is often known. Speaking out means becoming an outcast, not just to the royals, but to your entire professional community. You risk your pension, your reputation, and your future career. Finally, there's the sheer power of the institution you are up against. The royal family is a billion-dollar entity with centuries of influence and deep connections to the government, the legal system, and the press. An individual officer, even with damning evidence, is facing an unbelievable power imbalance. For many who just want a quiet life after a career on the front lines, the risk is simply too great. That is the wall of silence the police are now facing. A wall built with legal threats, institutional loyalty, and pure fear. In the face of these explosive new allegations, Buckingham Palace has moved to distance itself from Andrew and project an image of cooperation. A spokesperson stated that King Charles has made clear, in words and through unprecedented actions, his profound concern at allegations which continue to come to light. The statement added, "If we are approached by Thames Valley Police, we stand ready to support them as you would expect." These words follow some very public actions. King Charles has already stripped his brother of his royal titles and forced him from his home at Royal Lodge. The former prince is now just a private citizen. This public stance is a clear attempt to insulate the monarchy from the fallout. Even the Prince and Princess of Wales issued a statement saying they are deeply concerned and that their thoughts are with the victims. This creates a stark and troubling contradiction. On one hand, the institution says, "We will help." On the other, the people who worked inside it are reportedly terrified to speak. It raises a crucial question. Does the palace's promise of support extend to protecting whistleblowers? Would they stand by a former officer who comes forward with information that could incriminate a member of the family? Or does the unwritten code of the bubble, loyalty to the family above all else, still rule? The Director of Public Prosecutions has stated that nobody is above the law and that he enforces it without fear or favor. But for the men who guarded the prince, those words may offer little comfort when weighed against the immense power they would be challenging. The police are assessing the evidence, but the key witnesses are still in the shadows. What do you think? Should these former officers be given special protection to come forward? And will we ever learn the full truth of what happened behind palace walls? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. A new police probe is underway. The allegations of passing state secrets to a convicted sex offender are the most serious yet faced by Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. The royal family has pledged its full support to the authorities, and the justice system insists no one is above the law. But the truth may ultimately depend on a small group of men who saw everything and are now saying nothing. As long as Andrew's former security staff remain too frightened to speak, the key that could unlock this sordid chapter of royal history may stay just out of reach, and justice for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein's network will remain incomplete. The question now is not just what they know, but whether they will ever feel safe enough to tell it.